This is Jitendra Sharma from IMT Nagpur. I'm kind of uh, talking to you people, and the thing that we are going to discuss today, in whatever time that will be here, is one of the skill sets that uh, everyone aspires to have. And that is, the topic of discussion is the ultimate skill, learning how to learn. Now, if you remember, or if you have heard about this, I don't know. I mean, you must have heard the story of a woodcutter. Now, there were two woodcutters, uh, and they used to work for 8 hours. Both were given both were given the same time as 8 hours. And woodcutter A used to earn more money than woodcutter B. So one day, woodcutter B asked that Mr. A, how the hell? I mean, we both work for 8 hours, and you always get more wages, you cut more trees, you get more wood as a productivity factor. So, what is that makes you earn more? Since the woodcutter A says, say, what do you do? Well, when I start my work, I just go and start cutting the tree. And for 8 hours, I work like crazy, maybe with a 45 minutes of lunch break. And then I rest. Well, my style is different. I mean, what I do is, once I get on the job, I sharpen my axe. I grind it. I sharpen the axe, then I go work for 2, 3 hours. Then after lunch, I again sharpen my axe and then again work. So I work hardly for 6 hours as compared to you working for 8 hours. But I do keep sharpening my axe in between. That's why this is working better. So are you sharpening your axe? Are you grinding your axe? So are you doing something to improve yourself? Are you learning something? Because if when I was a kid, I mean, we used to have those superheroes like Phantom, Batman, Superman, and all. So we used to have that feeling that we should have some superhero abilities or super abilities as such. And as we grew older, we realized that those abilities are not that great. And as you grow older, not wiser, I am not saying that I have become wiser. I have definitely become older. So I've learned if I can learn quickly and fast, that will be an ability which I would rather want to have rather than anything else. The ability to learn quickly, ability to learn very fast, ability to learn something in a jiffy is. But the question comes, why you want to learn? Why we are interested in learning? Now, the question is, you will say, okay, I'm doing my education, I'm following a diploma, I'm doing a degree, I'm doing this studies, I'm doing that studies. Why I have to learn something more? So let me tell you that whenever you will be out of this graduation or post-graduation education, your abilities to work in the system will last for around 5 to 10 years. And then your knowledge and then your skill sets becomes obsolete. So you need to continuously learn. You need to continuously churn yourself to know more things, to know something new. Because if you ask any medicine expert, any doctor, any lawyer, any engineer, or any teacher for that matter, they are not dealing with the things which they learned in their college days. They are dealing with something very, very different and very, very new. They have to reinvent themselves. They have to learn something new. They have to unlearn few things which they have done in their prime days, and then they have to do something different. You talk to a coder, I mean, the one who works in the IT industry as a programmer or a coder, you'll find that these people has to continuously upgrade themselves every now and then. And that's why the reason we should learn. because the age of average is over. And learning will help you not only in the personal life, but also in the professional life. And this is something which you cannot afford to miss. Learning has to be there. But how do I learn? That is the question we'll be trying to answer today. So we can develop a meta skill for learning. Now, what is a meta skill? Meta skill is a skill that assists us in acquiring new skills. Meta skill is a skill which helps us to partner, or which helps us to harness our skills in learning other skills. For example, communication is a meta skill. If you see, communication is a meta skill. Now, how communication is a meta skill? With communication, you can articulate yourself well. With communication, you can write well. With communication, you can speak well. With communication, you can appear in interview and maybe crack the interview. With communication, you can do public speaking. With communication, you have some kind of creativity which comes into the play. You can become a good storyteller. With communication comes confidence. With communication comes a good way to deal with relationships. So as you see, what I just said about communication is the broad skill that we are talking about. And there are sub skill sets which comes with it. So communication can be termed as a meta skill with the help of which we can harness other skills and is very useful for us. Similarly, you can say health and fitness. I mean, in today's this COVID and Corona situation, health is of paramount importance. I don't need to re-emphasize or emphasize how important health is, or fitness, physical fitness is in these horrible times. Now, if you have that, you can say say convincing power and negotiating skills. If you have this meta skill, it can be used in HR, it can be used in relationships, it can be used in marketing, it can be used in selling, it can be used in dealing with people, it can be used in closing a deal, or anything for that matter. So whenever we are learning a skill which is much more broader, we help ourselves, we grow personally, and there's a self-improvement which comes into play. So meta skill is very so what is the meta skill that we are focusing on? Learning how to learn is the meta skill that we'll be focusing on. Now, how we can go about it? What are the ways and means we can learn fast, we can learn effectively, we can learn in a quick manner? What are those things? So I'll give you 5 steps or 5 parts to it. And if you have any queries or questions in between, you can just talk to me at any point of time. So learning effectively. So the first thing which comes to my mind is we have 2 modes of thinking or learning. One is a focused mode, the other is a diffused mode. When I say focused mode, it is we are focusing very well. We are concentrating at one place. We are concentrating on one aspect. And we are very, what you call it as, say, giving all our might in order to maybe solve a problem, maybe understand a situation, maybe trying to come up with a solution or something like that. The other situation is the diffused kind of situation. We are wandering, maybe we are on a walk, maybe we are jogging, maybe we are exercising, maybe we are just taking a small nap, and our mind is still working at the background. So that is the diffused mode that I refer to for thinking or solving a problem or learning as such. Now, you cannot have one and miss the other. Learning is always in both the modes. So you can keep switching from focus mode to the diffused mode. And when the problem is something to do with the creativity, when the problem is something to do with innovation, when the problem is something to do with the improvisation, or something which you are trying to think, maybe you want to write a poem or you are trying to write an article, then I think diffuse thinking works better then focus thinking. So you have to be very careful when to use the focus thinking and when to go into the diffused mode. Because what happens in focus thinking is that you are destination oriented, while in case of diffused thinking, you are journey oriented. So you have to decide which one works at what point of time. For example, if you are solving a Sudoku or solving a crossword or solving a quiz, taking a break always helps. Taking a break will always help, because these are the things which works in the subconscious mind, and your slow thinking, which I call it as diffused mode of thinking, works better in some kind of situation. So these two things you have to remember: the focused thinking and the diffused mode of thinking. The second point which comes into play when you are talking about learning is chunking. Chunking, chunking. Now, when you bracket things, when you group things, when you categorize things, when you put them in some kind of a, when you club the things, you work better. Say in the morning you get up and try and say club all your emails together. Maybe you give 1 hour to answering email and reading email. Then the next 2 hours is given to solving maybe your assignments or something. And you don't digress from there. You focus on that, you concentrate on that. And then, because if you're categorizing, if you're bracketing things, your ability to solve those kind of problems is always good. The third thing which comes to my mind as far as learning is concerned is spacing. Spacing means you do those things at intervals. Now, you must have given CAT examination and you're done your vocabulary building, word power building. Nidhi, kiya hai tumne word power building? I mean, vocab.
Yes, sir. I tried to, but
Yes.
I'm not perfect. I can say
Yeah,
that.
no, that's okay. That's okay, Nidhi. No one is perfect. We're all learning. We are all trying to find out our own way to move in this world. What I'm trying to say, Nidhi, here is that when you did those kind of things, you did it in a form which were not taking big spaces. Now, if I ask you, say after the CAT examination, do you remember the words which you learned? I think you you might not be remembering all the words which you learned during your before your CAT examination. Am I right, Nidhi?
Yes, sir.
So why this happened? Because you crammed in maybe in 3 nights, in 4 nights, or maybe in 20 hours or 25 hours of giving to the word part. But if Nidhi was reading right from her 12th days or 10th days or 9th or 8th high school days till date, Nidhi would have already got that word power in her without bothering about this what you call it as mugging up
Exam
kind of a
scenario.
preparation. Are you getting, Nidhi, what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
whenever we are making learning an event, it it's very volatile. It just goes away. It doesn't stay with us. It's very short term. It don't stay with us. It's volatile and it evaporates in thin air. But when you do the learning through a process, when you do learning through a process, there are chances that you will retain a lot of things in your head, in your subconscious mind. You may not even know that you know it, but you will be coming up with the answer at the right point of time. So learning is has to be done in spaces. You have to break it into some kind of, say, what you call it, intervals, and keep doing that thing. Say, if I want to learn Spanish, I cannot learn it in 6 hours. But if I can give 2 hours each for around next 10 days, maybe I'll pick up some basic words of Spanish. Do you agree, Nidhi?
Yes, sir. I totally
So,
agree.
so, so learning through event, or learning, making it an event, and learning through a process. So always try and make the spaces. Always try and do it through through a process, because that lasts longer in our head. A reader has a better vocabulary as compared to the people who appear in CAT and learned it only for 2-3 days or maybe a 1 month or 2 months for those coaching classes. That is the difference I'm referring to. Then let's come to the fourth point, which is very important and very crucial as far as developing a meta skill, learning to learn is concerned. This is procrastination. We all procrastinate. मेरे को ये करना है. And then we delay things. And then we forget about it. How many times we did this? I think everyone who is sitting over here on the other side of the screen will agree that we do procrastinate. चलो कल करते हैं. फिर कल वो आता नहीं है. I'll take care of my health. And then over a period of time, we forget about our health business. Procrastination, why it happens? Because there are reasons which attract us. Say, for example, if I'm sitting and trying to study, so there's a ping on the WhatsApp, or there's a ding somewhere, or there's a ring somewhere in my phone, and I pick up the phone and then I forget about the studies and go in a different world. So there's a reason. Then there's a reward, because my dopamine, there's a secretion in my head which makes me happy, which makes me go towards that particular ding or ping or ring or whatever you call it. And then my response is to give time to it, or to pay attention to it. When I keep doing it again and again, it becomes a reinforced kind of a habit. So there are four things here: the reason, then there's a reward, then there's a routine, or what you call it, we keep repeating ourselves, and then there's a reinforcement. When this 4R happens, we procrastinate. We just digress. We don't pay attention to what is to be done. So the best way to do is to avoid the reasons. Don't keep mobile phone around. And that is the one of the best way to focus. One of the best way is not to be distracted. So keep your social media off, keep your Wi-Fi off, keep your mobile data off, and then sit and follow a Pomodoro technique. Now you will ask me, what is a Pomodoro technique? The Pomodoro technique helps you to learn better, and Pomodoro technique is something which helps you to avoid procrastination. So what is Pomodoro technique? Pomodoro technique is 25 minutes of intense focus, 25 minutes of intense work, 25 minutes of focusing on one particular thing, and then taking a 5 minutes of break. In these 25 minutes, your Wi-Fi is off, your mobile is off, your phone is off, maybe it's not on, it's on the silent mode, and you work very intensely for 25 minutes. Then you take a break of 5 minutes. Maybe you can walk out, maybe you can call someone, maybe you can do WhatsApping, maybe you can check your social media. And after 5-7 minutes, you come back and again do that 25 minutes. Because I think we can all afford to do that 25 minutes of thing. Pomodoro. Pomodoro. Pomodro. Got it, Vidya? Pomodro. Pomodoro Technique.
Pomodoro, right?
Yes. So what we do in this is that we intensely work for 25 minutes without bothering about what's going on around us, and tell the world, please don't disturb me, at least 25 minutes. And then I take a break of 5-7 minutes, depending on how much time I have and how much time I have in my hand, and then go back again to my cycle of Pomodoro technique. It's one of the most common, it's one of the most used technique when people want to have some kind of focus in what they are doing. And it's very useful. I mean, I applied myself, I keep a watch, I keep a, say, clock in front of me, and then see whether I'm really following that up or not. Whether you are reading, whether you are listening to a podcast, or whether you are focusing on solving a problem, whether you're making a report, whether you're doing a project, each one of the technique which works amazing. So we talked about the modes of learning, which is focused and diffused. Then we went to the chunking, then we went to spacing, then we went to procrastination, and we found a way of avoiding this procrastination, because we always do that. And the more the delay, the more the decay which happens over a period of time. Then let's come to the working memory. Then let me tell you that our memory is not that great. I mean, our memory, I mean, we can presume that we have an amazing working memory, but we don't have an amazing working memory. In the morning, when you think, I will do this force job, and you put it in your head, by the end of the day, you realize you missed completely on two jobs. Completely. So one way of doing it, as the world keeps telling you, to make a to-do list. What I'll do today, and what I'll accomplish today by the end of the day. And at the end of the day, you check whether you are really achieved or not. But to-do list is not sufficient enough for learning. You have to schedule it. Generally, people will say, make a checklist, make a to-do list. But my idea of making a to-do list is much more broader and much more bigger, which says not only you make a to-do list, but you also write down the time that you will be taking that particular activity to be carried out. So please make sure that you are making a to-do list along, because when you make a to-do list, you commit yourself. And when you keep the timelines, say, I'll do it between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., this particular job. So you're committing yourself more. You're making it structured. You're making it rigid. And there are more chances of you doing that particular job than otherwise. It may take a while, it may take a week, it may take 15 days, it may take 10 days to get into that kind of routine where you say, I'll do these three broad things and three small things today. And by the end of the day, have you done those three small things and three broad things? You have to look into those things and then find out whether you really did that or not. So that's the next point, that is the memory and the to-do list or the schedules. Then the last point, as far as the learning effectively is concerned, is overlearn. It's not easy. It's not, because if you don't repeat yourself, you will lose it over a period of time. Say, if you have learned any computer language, if you have learned Excel, or if you have learned anything, and if you are not used it for a particular period of time, then there are chances that you have lost that skill over a period of time. So you need to repeat, you need to recall those things, you need to practice again and again, and you have to master it at a certain level. Because if you don't do that, you will lose that in between, and somewhere it gets lost. So you have to repeat yourself. You have to recall those things again and again. You have to practice those things again and again. And then you master that skill. If you do all these things, there are big chances that you will reach a particular level. You must have heard this. I mean, you can apply this quote to Nawazuddin or to Irfan Khan or to Kohli or to Tendulkar or to anyone who you aspire and admire. It took me 10 years to become an overnight success. Do you think it's an overnight success? No, it's the 10 years of hard work. It's the 10 years of repeating yourself. It's 10 years of doing that thing again and again, sometimes getting the results, and most of the time not getting the results. So you have to be at it. If you really are interested in going at a certain level, then you have to be very careful about your learning process. So I'm just repeating myself what I just discussed. Two modes of learning and thinking, focused and diffused, both are needed. Maybe at different point of time, maybe one works for you and one works for the other person. The second is chunking, then spacing, then procrastination, then memory, the working memory, and then you have to pay attention to your overlearning. I always keep saying to the world, over prepare and then go with the flow. Always do that. Over prepare and then go with the flow. Now, we will talk about the what, why, and how of learning now. So I'm giving you three letters. First is M, then there's I, and then there's P. MIP. So I call it rule of three. This is my rule of three. I love rule of threes. I have a list of around 50 to 60 rule of three written with me. This is for the learning part. And I'll give you those three things, starting with M, starting with I, and starting with P, which is the what, then the why, and the how. First, so the M is mindset. I mean, you have to develop that mindset. That's, yes, I want to learn. Yes, I want to do something about something. It may be a new language. It may be a new programming language. It may be something which will help you in the long run. Maybe, for example, maybe a new course which you want to do online, or it may be just a skill like, say, learning to play badminton better, or anything for that matter. So mindset, then you need motivation, and then you need method. All these things, I mean, when you talk about mindset, when you talk about the word I is for ideation. You need to know where you want to get yourself into and what are the possibilities of it. So I given you three MIP: mindset, ideation, and possibilities. This is the what of it. What is it that I want to do? Where is it that I want to reach as far as my learning is concerned? The next is the why of it. What is my motivation? What is my inspiration? And what is the purpose that I'm trying to achieve through this? That's the why. M is motivation, I is inspiration, P is the purpose, and that's the why. Because you need to have a why. Because if you don't have why, then I don't think you will reach anywhere. You need to have a reason for why you want to reach there. You need to have a very solid ground that why you want to learn that particular thing. Maybe it's an art, maybe it's painting, maybe it's singing, maybe it's dancing. So there has to be a purpose within you which helps you to reach there. So the word M is motivation. The word I with letter I is ideation. Sorry, inspiration, and then there's a purpose. The last in line is how I'm going to do this. So you need to know the method, you need to implement that method, and you need to master that process. So M is method, I is implementation, and P is process. That's the how. So what, why, and how. This is the rule of three for learning. Now, as far as uh, the the meta skill of learning is concerned, MIP for learning, mindset, motivation, method. Then for I, you can note down if you are interested. For I, it is ideation, inspiration, and implementation. Ideation, inspiration, and implementation. And the last one is P, possibilities, possibilities, purpose, and the last one was process. So when you talk about what, it's mindset, it's ideation and possibilities. When you talk about why, it's motivation, it's inspiration, it's purpose. And when you talk about the last, how I'm going to do it, it's about method, it's about implementing that method, and it's about following a process in order to reach somewhere. So I think we have covered a lot of ground as far as meta skill is concerned. Now, how we do this? Now, what are the ways and means that I could learn? So I'm telling you, you live in a very wired world, a very, very wired world where everything is available at your fingertips. So there are books available in your mobile phone. There's a podcast available in your mobile phone. There's a YouTube available in your mobile phone. There's a TED Talk application which you can download and keep it in your mobile phone. There's a lot of web series which are available. There's movies, there's podcasts, there's documentaries, there are talk shows, there are current affairs, there are discussion, there are debates, there's music, there's movies. I mean, there's an immense world out there with the help of which you can learn. I mean, you would not believe that learning can be done anywhere. When you watch a movie, you can learn something. How to talk, how to deliver, how to speak, what to say, what not to say. I mean, there are so many things which are, and if you are averse to reading a book, please listen to an audio book. It's available and it's available free. You just go to goldenaudiobooks.com and download whatever you want to have and keep listening while you're walking, while you're doing something, while you're exercising, while you're gymming or doing anything. So there's a lot of scope that is available with us, with the help of which we can grow ourselves. Because if we are missing out on this, if we are missing out on this, then I think we will be left way behind as compared to the others. Because you need to have that X factor along with your diploma, along with your degree, along with the certificate which you are carrying. And if you don't have that X factor which comes from learning, and let me tell you one thing, I mean, I hope you will agree with me. Learning and knowledge is recession proof. I mean, it never suffers from any recession which comes any point of time. People can take away your money. People can take away your property. People can take away your land, but they can never take away the knowledge which you have gathered over a period of time. And that's why it's recession proof. And the only thing you cannot afford to do in this world is not to learn and not to know more. Because there's a world out there. And they say neurons that wire together fires together. Neurons, I mean, we have neurons in our head, but they're not getting connected. They need to be wired. And how they get wired? They get wired when you solve quizzes, when you solve a Sudoku, when you solve a crossword, when you do a riddle, when you do a Scrabble, that gets wired together. The more number of neurons which are getting wiring together, they are firing together, and your brain works better. So these are the basic things that we have to be very careful about. And learning has to be there. If learning is not there, then something, I have this 5-6 words which I'll end up with. So learn, unlearn, relearn, yearn, earn, and repeat. So I repeat to myself, learn, unlearn, because unlearning is also very important. Sometimes you don't have to follow what you have been following since ages. So learn, unlearn, relearn, yearn. I mean, aspire for something. Then earn, maybe in monetary terms, maybe in respect terms, maybe in some other terms, and then repeat yourself. This is how we go about it. Now, what I'll do now is we can have some 5-10 minutes of Q&A. If any doubts or any clarification or any curiosity is there, I'm ready to talk to you people. I hope I didn't bore you. I hope didn't waste your time. Yes, Nidhi. Hi, tell me.
Sir, I have a question that if we follow this process and method, so we will follow it for we can say for a few days or a few weeks, but after that we will start forgetting this method and process. It is hard to continue.
Yes, Nidhi, you are very right. And what happens is that when we don't see results, we tend to fall back on our old routine. है ना? यही बोल रही हो ना तुम?
Yeah, yes sir, yes sir.
So I'll tell you, Nidhi, stage 2 of learning is very difficult, where you are trying to learn something and it is not going our way. Say, gym या health club कभी गई हो निधि?
No sir, I do my exercise on my terrace.
Okay, you do it on your own. Now, do you think the results can be seen in 1 or 2 days?
No sir, absolutely not.
You have to sustain yourself for long run. Only then you start getting the results.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
तो उसको क्या है, you have to be at it. लगे रहना पड़ेगा. Yes, you don't get the results, you get frustrated, you get depressed, you don't get the kind of say response from your body or from your mind or from people around you, the right kind of responses. But there comes a point of time when you keep at it, when you, जब हम लगे रहते हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं हमको उसके रिजल्ट्स मिलने लगते हैं. सो यू टू क्रॉस दैट फ्रस्ट्रेशन स्टेज, यू टू क्रॉस दैट हर्डल, यू टू क्रॉस दैट the threshold which is always there, and that stops us, and that keeps us up, keeps us from not learning more or not knowing more. तो वो निधि, वो तो our willpower, our say what we aspire to be is the question that we need to answer ourselves. If we make our identity like that, then it makes a hell of a difference. And I'll give you one more tip, Nidhi.
Yes, sir.
Start. Just start, and you will reach somewhere. For example, I want to run, say, half an hour every day. So it's not about half an hour running. It's about putting on my shoe and tying up my laces. That is the most important. Are you getting
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
trying to say?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, तो क्या टेबल पे बैठना पड़ता तो फिर आधे घंटे पढ़ाई होती, पर टेबल पे नहीं बैठे तो 0 मिनट की पढ़ाई होती. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir. It is most difficult to
हाँ,
start.
yes, it's more difficult to start. So please start. Just give yourself 5 minutes of exercise. I'm telling you, over a period of time, you will be doing 25 minutes of exercise. I'm guaranteeing that.
Yes,
Because
sir.
it helps us in getting us in a frame of mind which works for us.
Yes.
I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else who would like to ask or have a query?
Sir, every time I listen to you, it's a new learning. I have started making my notes, and I would want to know more on this concept that you mentioned was Pomodoro.
Pomodoro.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's again, say maybe we can have a bigger discussion or say longer
Sure.
discussion. In short, I can tell you that say keep away all your distraction. Just, one of the best way to work is to sit in front of a wall.
Okay.
One of the best way to, don't sit in an open room on a sofa or a chair. Just see that you don't have anything in front of you but a wall. That's about it. Because, and no mobile phones, it's on silent, unless until it's an emergency kind of a situation, that's another matter. But try and focus for 25 minutes. I'm telling you, after 3 days, Vidya, you will call me and tell me that yes, sir, it is working for me.
Amazing.
I'm telling you, it's a very universally successfully accepted technique. And I started doing it from on my own. I started playing with it, and initially it gave me some kind of a problem. Earlier it was 15 minutes of focus or 20 minutes of focus, but then I found out this, yes, I can focus for half an hour and take a break of 10-15 minutes, then come back again, and with renewed energy and renewed vigor I can focus on the things and do something. Because when you sit long hours for 6 hours and 4 hours, I'm telling you, your productivity is coming down. It's of no use. So it's better to be at 100% productivity, even if it is for lesser period of time. That's why that grinding the axe is very important. अपने तलवार को है ना वो sharpen तो करना पड़े. And this is our talwar. The only talwar I have is this in between my two ears. So I have to sharpen it. If I'm not sharp, say if I'm working for 10 hours and not sharpening, it will blunt over a period of time. ये खत्म हो जाएगा. तो उससे अच्छा मैं ना 6 घंटा काम करूं, 4 घंटा इसको sharpen करूं. तो ये कई सालों तक चलता रहे. It will work for a longer period.
True.
Anyone wants to ask anything?
Hiranmay, do you want to ask anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay, if you have any query, you can just address it to the sir. He'll be happy to answer that.
Yeah, Hiranmay, you are not spoken a word.
Yeah, that's why,
No,
sir,
sir, actually.
he called up.
Huh? Come again?
No, it's an interesting session, sir, actually.
Okay. So you don't have any
I,
or any thought which is coming in your mind, you can share it with us. Any problem?
sir, you said lastly you said about learn, unlearn, relearn, and yearn and repeat. No, sir.
Yes, yes.
Can you say about unlearn and yearn?
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. So I started with the word learn, which we talked about for 45 minutes, I think. Unlearn, sometimes what happens, Hiranmay, is that we have some notions in our head. I mean, for example, if you see this coronavirus, it has taught us few things that we cannot hug each other very frequently whenever we meet our relatives and all. तो ये थोड़ा unlearn करना पड़ा अभी, क्योंकि अभी समय की जरूरत है. Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Yes, yes.
So we learned whenever we see our relatives, we give a big hug, and a very tight hug, because that's where we express ourselves. But right now, for 1 or 2 years, we are not hugging people. We are unlearning that. We are just giving a fist. ऐसा कुछ करते हैं आजकल है ना, or maybe an elbow bump, if you know that.
Yes, sir.
आजकल elbow bump करते हैं. क्यों कर रहे हैं? Because we learned something at one point of time, but now we realize that the times which we live in are different. So maybe for 2021, 2022, half of it, we should not hug each other unless until we are very sure that this fellow will not pass on something to me, or I'm not passing on something to him or her. So this is the unlearn part. The next part is relearn. I mean, we have to relearn to wear a mask. We have to wash our hands n number of times. We have to be careful when we are going out. So this is the relearning we are doing. Is it okay, Hiranmay?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yearn is you aspire. Hiranmay wants to become a great communicator or want to become a marketing personnel. तो हिरणमयी सिर्फ मार्केटिंग पढ़ने से वो नहीं होगा, आपको कुछ और भी करना पड़ेगा. जैसे maybe you want to become a bit more open and extrovert while talking to people. You have to communicate better. You have to become a pleasing personality at the end of the day. Right? You cannot be grumpy, and you cannot say keep a face where people say कि अरे let's not talk to Hiranmay, she is a bore. ऐसा कर सकती हो क्या? नहीं. So you have to aspire to become something over a period of time, and you have to work on that. Then earn. So we will earn maybe some money through job. Maybe we will earn respect in our colleagues. Maybe we will earn some kind of a status in our society. So this is the earn part, EARN, and then repeat. So this is the way we go about it. We learn, we unlearn, we relearn, we yearn, we earn, and repeat. These are the words which I have created for myself, and I keep telling the word. Whoever is ready to listen, I hope it works.
It definitely does, sir. It definitely.
So I hope, Nidhi, do you have anything to say? Otherwise, we'll wind up the session. Vidya, you have any question? Or Shubhangi has any?
No, so I used to talk about learn, unlearn, and relearn. Love the Kurt Lewin's. I got few new words, so that's
Yeah.
interesting.
These are my addition to it. Because learn करके कुछ नहीं होगा ना. We need to achieve something as well.
Yes.
There's a result, and then there's an outcome, and then there's accomplishment.
Absolutely.
So accomplishment जब तक नहीं हो. Say for example, if I'm teaching in a class and I'm getting money for teaching in my class, this is one part of it.
Correct.
But if the students are learning something through me and they are telling me कि sir मेरे को वो आपने पढ़ाया थे वो अच्छा लगा, so that is my earning. That is what I am looking forward to. rather than anything else. पैसा तो आ जाएगा विद्या, यहाँ से नहीं आएगा, कहीं और से आ जाएगा.
सही कह रहे हैं, सही कह रहे हैं.
These are the
One question,
Yes,
probably
yes.
the last one from my side.
Yes, please.
Sir, when do we know that it's time to unlearn now or relearn now? वो कब आता है point? कोई saturation आएगा या आपका work आपको बताएगा या how do you come to know about it or analyze it?
Yeah.
I think we will feel the need of updation, and
Yes.
then we will relearn.
Yes. So Shubhangi, Nidhi is bang on as far as the point which he's making is concerned. So say we will feel that, Shubhangi. We will somewhere down the line will see that this thing is working for me and these are the things which are not working for me. So we have to be what you call it as introspect in ourselves and see what is doing, what is giving me the right kind of results and what is not giving me the right kind of results. And over a period of time, maybe you have to drop those habits which are not giving us the right kind of. For example, if someone thinks that a peg in the night makes him sleep better, but he wakes up very groggy and he's not able to perform next day. तो वो एक जगह तो एडवांटेज दे रहा है कि उसको नींद अच्छी आ रही है, लेकिन नेक्स्ट not able to perform. So somewhere down the line, he needs to drop that learning that he's getting a better sleep because next day he's not able to perform.
Correct.
So he himself has to say learning is also about self-correction and self-editing. What is working for you and what is not working for you. The world will not come and tell you.
Of course.
The world will not come and tell you. So you have to figure it out yourself over a period of time by seeing the pros. Say, जब वो चाय बनाती हो Shubhangi, तो you know what is working.
Correct.
That is it. And you cannot explain that process to me or to Vidya or to.
Of course.
नहीं समझा सकती. पर तुमको मालूम है कब क्या करना.
Correct. ठीक है, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Chalo, I think we'll say wind up for the day. I hope.
Does anyone have any other questions? Nidhi, Hiranmai?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Nidhi, do you have anything to say?
No, sir.
Okay, chalo.
So I wanted to say one thing, that the library you are having behind you, this is very fascinating, and one day I want to have this kind of library in my house.
We all say that to him.
I only library, read it as well. Huh?
Yes, sir. Obviously.
Hello. Bye everyone. Thanks for
Thank you so
once
much,
again.
sir. Thank you. So it was refreshing after the whole day's extraneous work of calling people. This is refreshing. This you should do on a regular basis for us. Thank you so much.
Hello. Bye.
Thank you everyone for your time. Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye,
Thank you, sir.
Shubhangi. Bye,
Bye,
students.
everyone.
Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Bye.